Thank you for listening to the BJJBrick podcast. We'll be bringing you Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and good times. We hope to flatten your Jiu-Jitsu learning curve, help you get the most out of your grappling ability, and meet your goals both on and off the mat.
Welcome back, my friends, to episode 45 of the BJJBrick podcast. My name is Byron, and I'm here with Gary.
How's everybody doing today?
I'll answer for him, Gary. They're doing great.
I'm glad to hear that.
I hope you're doing good.
I'm doing good.
To us
I'll answer for myself.
There you go. No matter where you are listening to us, we're glad you're listening and hope to share some jiu-jitsu stuff with you today. Today, we have 3 analogies, really 2 analogies and 1 metaphor to help you better understand jiu-jitsu and the learning process and to get better.
And that's what we're all here for, to understand and get better.
I like analogies because it's like, it makes it simple. It's like, if A moves to B, and then, okay, I kind of understand that, but then I could show it another way, like, okay, C moves to D. Oh, I do see how A moves to B then. So I think analogies are an important learning tool to help stress certain things, and that's what we're going to do today. So let's start off with our quote of the week, like usual, Gary.
I always look forward to the quote of the week. What do we have this week?
We've got Bruce Lee, and it's kind of funny because we talk so much about the number 10,000 not being that big of a deal, but it's a good example of what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, so think of it as an example.
As like a big number, but he happened to use the number 10,000, which is funny. But I fear the man who has practiced 10,000. Okay, I'll read that again. I think I typed that wrong. I fear not the man. I put no man. I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. This, yet again, the number, I think he just gave a big number.
Yeah.
But if you practice a move a lot, you're going to get good at it. If you practice a whole bunch of moves once each or just a couple times, you're going to end up with nothing.
Yeah. And
or very little.
Byron and I were talking earlier, and you think about that training partner that you have at your gym, and there's always that guy who has a great guillotine, Jason Bircher. Well, he's got a great overall game, or a great Kimura or whatever. And you know when you roll with that guy, you're going to get put in bad positions and probably get tapped by that move. And I'm the same way. That guy who's got this just an incredible move, trying to defend it is very tough. And I'm kind of like that. I would almost have one really good tool than a whole bunch of tools that I'm okay at.
Yeah, and this will come back pretty soon with our metaphor. But
yeah,
there's a reason why he's not afraid of a guy who has wasted his time and learned a whole bunch of kicks and hasn't really mastered any of them. Like you said, the guy that comes in every day with a new YouTube move struggles. They really struggle to get to the next level.
You do see that, yeah. It's when you're new into the sport, I don't know. I always try to tell people, find the move that works for you and just keep at it. Just get better and better at it.
Yeah, hammer that one.
Yeah, hammer it. That's the key right there. Instead of learning, 12,000 inverted triangles, get that Kimura down, get that guillotine down, and just keep going and going. And even when it's become your go-to move, keep doing it and doing it and doing it. I love to have that move that whenever I'm in trouble, I can go for. Just something that is so ingrained in me that I go there and I know there's a very good chance I can finish it.
All right, Gary, you know what that music means.
I know what that means.
It's time for the article of the week. This one, usually we try to pick out articles from different jiu-jitsu websites and kind of promote other websites and get the word out about, other people's stuff. But this one actually is from the HuffingtonPost.com, which was, I think that they got it from somebody else, but they posted it, and that's where I ended up finding it. So,
yeah, that's pretty cool when a jiu-jitsu article gets hit on the Huffington Post.
Yeah, this is written by Peggy Nolan. So nice article there, Peggy. It's titled 10 Reasons Why I Practice Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. A little bit about Peggy here. She says she's nearing the end of her 40s, so she's almost 50.
So she's my age.
It's been interesting, or great 10 years, she says, of learning and growing. So in her 40s, she got divorced, she battled breast cancer, she got married to the love of her life, she became a certified yoga teacher, she got her first and second degree black belts in Muay Thai.
Whoa.
And all this right before she turns 49. So what's next for her? Well, She tells herself, maybe jiu-jitsu, but, I'm too old. I don't want to roll on the ground with sweaty guys. That doesn't sound fun. And I might get hurt, She had some definite things that made her say, maybe not. But she does have 10 reasons why she does, practice jiu-jitsu. So she had been she'd been doing her Muay Thai, and she watched 2 of her Muay Thai sisters do jiu-jitsu, and they're having a good time. She watched this for about 2 years, and then finally decides to try it, and she likes it. Yeah. And she's like, well, I wish I'd done this 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I'd maybe even be a blue belt by now, but you know what? Take that.
Big deal.
You
started.
You started now. That's good. So she's training. She definitely has, she says around her 4th or 5th class, she's feeling like this may not be for her. She feels like she's too old, and she's just not really enjoying it. And about 8 weeks in, she's able to stick with it a little bit through these bumps and hurdles that we all have when we try new things. She got her first stripe on her white belt, and she's like, "This is like Christmas morning, Easter, Halloween, all rolled into one," which is a crazy holiday. But this lit a fire under her, and she decided this is for her. This is a big deal for her to get this stripe. Just think about that, instructors. Some people don't need that motivation, but some people are on the verge of am I getting better? I don't think I'm getting any better. And they're frustrated.
That's your reward system. It's telling you you're getting better.
Yeah.
And it's a big deal. It's a big deal to get a stripe on a belt or even get a different belt color. Both of those are just huge deals. And a lot of the times that'll just keep the person going. But it's just such a confidence builder.
Yeah. But, it doesn't need to be. I've never had a stripe.
Yeah, I've never had a
stripe
stripe either.
But I maybe that's not what I've experienced. That's not my journey.
But each person is different.
Yeah, yep. I go from one belt to the other, and it's a slow, gradual process. But I don't think I need the stripes in between to help motivate me and to show me I know I'm doing better. I have days I didn't roll. Like last week, I had a day I didn't roll that good. Man, I was a little off today. Whatever. Today I rolled pretty good. That's fine.
We're all going to have those days.
But anyway, some people need that little bit of motivation to help keep them coming in and feel like they're making progress. And so she was one of them, and that's good that she able to get that.
Well, I just can't believe all the stuff she did in her 40s. I hate to say it, but it's made me feel like a failure.
Better get on it, Gary. Well, getting divorced isn't that fun, and battling breast cancer sounds like a... But these are all things she learned from.
Yeah.
She
learned
overcame
from all
them. And she got married to the love of her life.
You can't ask for I mean,
move on.
She's got it going on, basically.
She's doing what makes her happy.
Yeah.
So 10 reasons why I practice jiu-jitsu. This is from our friend Peggy. Number 10, and we may not read them all, but I don't know if I'm gonna read all the numbers either. But anyway, never told learn something new. That's true, and it does help. Learning stuff.
Yeah.
It makes you realize that there's new stuff out there to learn, and it helps your brain stay active. Another one she has here, jiu-jitsu teaches me mind-body awareness. This is often a problem with people that don't do physical things. She did physical things, but she's more aware of how her body works with her mind. Jiu-jitsu seems like it incorporates a lot of yoga into it, she says, which I could, that I don't do yoga. I probably should. But it almost seems like if you're good at something else, you can find common things with your jiu-jitsu.
Oh yeah.
Just like I'm not gonna say I'm she's good at yoga. I'm not like the best firefighter in the world, but I'm gonna give one of our analogies is firefighter related. Now, if I didn't have a passion for that, I would have never made up this analogy about firefighting and how it's related to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll naturally find things in common with off the mat things in common with jiu-jitsu. And she found yoga, which is probably more like jiu-jitsu than firefighting.
Yeah, it's definitely going to help her in jiu-jitsu, and her jiu-jitsu is probably going to help her yoga, vice versa.
Another thing on the list here is it teaches her to commit 100% to her next move. And in this, I mean, jiu-jitsu strategies or not, you may commit 100%, you may commit 50% and be ready for them to react, something like that. But when you're making a move in life, if it's a big one,
you're better going 100%.
Yeah. A lot of times, it's good to have I'm reminded of the explorers who when they got to the land, they had their boats, and the leader, he's like, well, these guys all want to go back home. We're not going back home. We're in this new land and we're doing it. He burned the ships, that's 100% commitment.
Yeah,
to,
that's
to
100%
stay in.
commitment.
But it's gonna have a little wiggle room and maybe back out. But
Yeah, the first night they were camping,
committed.
somebody probably would have took off of that boat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, but you burn the ships.
You have no choice.
That
100%
just means
commitment
right there.
Yep, you're down. Another thing she said is she learns a lot from her training partners. You're always going to learn from different individuals. They're going to bring you different stuff to the table. So keep an open mind. She learns from her training partners. Another one I really like, she says, in jiu-jitsu, I don't need to assume that my opponent will always be bigger, faster, or stronger than me. They are going to be. And but what I like that says is she's got to rely on her technique. And how many times have any of us went against a bigger, stronger guy and we swept him with great technique? That's one of the best feelings. Yeah, it's one of the best feelings ever. I train with the best. Jiu-jitsu isn't something you learn by reading a book, and you have to go out there and do it. I can be a black belt in reading jiu-jitsu and be able to name all the moves, but can I go out there and practice them? You have to get out there. You can't just read the books, watch the videos. Jiu-jitsu took her outside of her comfort zone. Practicing jiu-jitsu is a major leap for her. And basically, in life, you've got to take yourself out of your comfort zone. Jiu-jitsu, life, that's the only way. I mean, look at, Byron made the analogy about the explorers. I mean, boy, leaving, Europe and going across the ocean on a boat that, may or may not sink and may or may not have water, and dysentery and smallpox may run through the boat, but that's a major step to attempt that. And the last reason, she says, I'm going to get older with every birthday. Age is not an excuse to do something. Like, remember right at the start, she said, I was thinking of training, but I kept using age. It's like, I'm going to get older. I'm either going to do it or not going to do it. But what I think which is pretty neat is I think my third white stripe would be an awesome 50th birthday present. Tell me how cool that would be.
Yeah.
But no, it just seems like, those are great reasons to train jiu-jitsu. And jiu-jitsu's basically done a lot for me, and I know for you, and probably about anybody who trains it. And Peggy here is a great example.
Yep, that was Peggy Nolan. I found it on the Huffington Post. It's 10 reasons why I practice jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Sure, it's somewhere else as well, but I'll put a link to it. Great article, Peggy. We appreciate it. That's
Thank you,
stuff.
Peggy.
All right, guys. 3 analogies. Actually, 2 analogies and 1 metaphor. I don't really know. I mean, I don't think I got an A in English ever. As you could probably see if you ever read any of the notes, I commonly misspell words, misplace commas, or whatever. But there'll be some analogies and metaphors for you people.
I personally think Byron used to spell better until he started jiu-jitsu, and all this getting choked out has hurt a couple of his brain cells.
Actually, I have really bad handwriting as well, and that's common with people who don't spell very well because at an early age I started making it sloppy so they couldn't tell if I spelled it right.
Can't go wrong with that. And I will vouch for that.
I did go wrong with it.
Byron has a whiteboard with for the podcast here in his office, and to be honest, there's 3 different rows. I don't know if I can read anything on that whole calendar.
It's easy to read.
I don't know. I can read July.
I got
That
like a
might be
calendar on one
calls.
side of it. I got people we get a call and then other stuff. But yeah, it's pretty sloppy. But I can read it.
Yeah, that's
And
really,
I
to be
guarantee
honest.
you, there's misspelled words up there.
Yeah, the only thing that really matters is can Byron read it. It's it's his whiteboard.
So whether these are analogies or metaphors, whatever, we're gonna make it happen for you guys, and it should be fun, and it should stress some basic points about jiu-jitsu for you guys. Make them real simple. The first one, I'm pretty sure it's a metaphor, is the BjjBrick.
We do get a lot of people asking, "What does that mean?" or whatever, and
we don't always,
we do, a lot of times I don't think we assume, because we've talked about it once, that I think we've actually talked about it twice now.
a few times.
Yeah, but we need to
Explain that one.
explain it a little bit more. It's I think it would definitely help people out there.
Have you ever? Okay, I'm going to ask yourself something. Have you ever been rolling with somebody who was about the similar skill level, but they did the same technique to you several times in like a 5-minute roll? Like, let's say, we're both blue belts, we're similar blue belts. He's not almost purple belt, but this guy just guillotined me 3 times in 5 minutes. He's got a great guillotine. That's all there is to it. Same thing. That is what I would call a BJJ brick. It feels like you get smashed with a brick. Or to his example, he gets to smash. He has a brick in his hand that he's going to smash you with.
Yeah.
Like, it's this great technique he has.
Yeah.
And you got to develop a well-rounded game, but you do need some bricks in there to be with you to hit people with.
And as you're in the journey of developing that well-rounded game, and because that's really where it's going to start, you're going to learn, a bunch of techniques and drill these techniques. But you're going to find some moves that really suit your game, your body style. And as you're going through the jiu-jitsu journey, you'll start out with 1 brick. Hopefully you get 2 or more. But, man, when you've got that move down, you feel like you can hit it from different positions. And it really is like a brick. It's like all of a sudden you just smash that guy. All of a sudden you see an opening.
Yeah.
You just pounce on it. It's your move. You are now in your comfort zone.
Yeah. How fair is it to have an actual break in a jiu-jitsu match? Not fair
at all.
But if you don't know, let's say I've been, I work quite a bit on my arm and guillotine. If you don't know, if my training partners don't know that that's coming, it's a lot easier for me to get. They don't even know I have this brick. So what kind of an unfair advantage is that? Like, They don't, like the upper level jiu-jitsu guys, they all know each other's games. They all know what they're going to do. And a lot of times it still works.
Yeah.
Like, they can still pull off these amazing moves. That's a real brick.
That's a real brick right there. That's a cinder block.
Cinder block. Nice.
Yeah. I tell you, when you got your training partner that you've been training with for a long time, you've put a lot of rounds with this person. This person knows what's coming. The guys at your gym know what's coming. Guys higher level than you at your gym know what's coming. And you can still pull it off. That's a great feeling right there.
That's like you get a brick to roll with.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. And the good thing about having a brick is this: you always have it. Like, I could be walking down the street, some guy hits me and levels me, and luckily I didn't get knocked out. This is a native example, but I still have the tools that I've learned and I've worked on. These bricks are still with me, and he knows nothing about them.
Yeah, he goes into autopilot, looking for that brick. It really does happen. Your mind goes that way. And the other thing about the brick too is, and I'm not condoning this, but if you take time off, like I've noticed, like if I've been injured and had to take some time off, you come back and that brick is still there. Maybe if I took 2 years off, but I don't think I ever took.
Or if
more
you don't work on the brick
weeks.
Constantly, like once you get it to a certain level, it's still there for you.
Yeah. And one thing like I like to see with a brick too is just because you call it a brick now and you're really good at it, man, you can get better at it.
Absolutely. You can always get better.
Yeah, I see so many people. It's like, man, I'm already good at that move. I'm going to drill something else. I'm kind of the opposite. I'm like, I'm going to get better at this move. I'm going to figure out little techniques, little tweaks to make it better. I'm going to figure out new positions to hit it from, new ways. And I don't know. I just really love having, it's like a good sidearm. It's like I got, protection.
I don't know how many times I've seen you get a guillotine from mount, but you've been doing it for a long time and you're still doing it. And I know when I'm in mount that I'm in trouble, and I'm trying to defend that guillotine the best I can. I saw I get it today several times. Like that's one of, I would say, one of your bricks. Like,
yeah, definitely.
It could be. It doesn't have to be a submission either. It could
actually,
be a
Byron taught me that with some help from Jason Bircher. So Byron, you taught me my brick. It wasn't a brick till you fine tuned some stuff for me. Really, I'm not kidding.
And his is way better than mine anyway.
Yeah.
But he worked on it and he did the homework on it and did the
and you helped me fine tune mine by bringing some stuff back from Jason, which mine was kind of in a lull, and ever since that, it really turned that into a brick. My guillotine really wasn't a brick at that point. It was okay, but it went over to a different level, thanks to your help.
So if you want to walk around with a brick in your hand,
go ahead and do that. Yeah.
Work on a few specific things, and when you roll, they'll be there for you. When you're in a street situation, hopefully you're not, but it'll be more likely to be in your instant recall of what you might do.
Yeah, and it's never fun rolling with that guy that has a major brick, and all of a sudden, let's say it's a Kimura, all of a sudden your wrist is pinned on the ground and he just got that grip, it's 99% of the time, 90% of the time, he's taking that thing home with him. And no matter how hard you try, and it seems like I see that all the time. Next class, it's like, hey, can we defend, this grip? And then you spend 2 weeks learning to defend it, and you're like, okay, now I'm ready for him. And you did some push-ups during that time and worked on your cardio, and you go back to the same guy, and he grabs that wrist and does the exact same thing.
Yeah. It's the brick philosophy is not saying only work on one thing.
No.
You've got to be good at everything.
You've got to have a complete
But you
game.
do need some tools that are going to be outstanding. You do need, as a blue belt, you do need some tools that are like a purple belt level.
Yep.
And this is going to make you a lot more successful. And I get frustrated sometimes with students coming in, and they've got, they do what they want to do. But like if you're going to work on a new move every day, like you saw something, I saw something on
That's
YouTube
a recipe
I
for
work
disaster,
on.
I think.
Every day it's something new.
Yeah.
Every day it's something new and unrelated to the last thing that they
Yep.
did the other day. It's like, that's not going to get you anywhere.
That's
But
not-
yeah,
yeah.
well, if you don't work on it, that's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, it's going to get you beat up.
Gary's going to dish it out. But it's not, your long-term success does not depend on you learning all these little moves. It's just like
No.
the quote of our day, the quote of the week today. It's like, 1,000 YouTube videos aren't going to help you more than watching the same video, a whole bunch, and you're really getting it down.
Yeah. I always love it when it
wasn't the quote.
you always hear somebody talking about, a newer student, learning the basics. And next thing you know, they're like, yeah, I was just watching, inverted triangles and, this and that on YouTube. Can I try these? You've been training for 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
We don't need to go with the inverted triangle. Let's work on hand placement.
I think it's different for new students these days because they see, it has to work at a high level. They see all these really good guys doing it, but they've got their foundation already. And
well, I think what helped us is, we started a long time ago. We had dial-up internet, and it would take forever for a video to load.
There really wasn't any videos.
There
online.
really
There were
wasn't.
some VHS tapes and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
it's a good tool out there using online videos and stuff like that, but it can be dangerous and help you just kind of meander around aimlessly without getting any better.
Yeah, that's the key word, aimlessly.
Yeah. If you had two students and one learned a random technique every day and one worked the same technique every day, at the end of the month, it's easy money on the guy who's been working the same move.
Yep. I will tell you, Byron and I started within a couple weeks of each other, and Byron got really good at the armbar from the guard. So here we are, two guys who really didn't know much, but Byron had a junior brick at that time, I guess. It worked every time, but it worked against me. I don't know if it worked against other level people, but every time, I think every round we rolled. Well, actually, we didn't roll rounds; we just rolled.
Yeah.
But no matter what, I'd always get armbarred 3 or 4 times from Byron.
I'm a hippie in every one of those things.
And me being the young cocky guy at that point, thinking I knew, thinking because I lifted weights, I was tough. I didn't want to tap. So I'd go home put some peas on my arms, frozen peas. And if I could do it all over again, I would have tapped quickly. And instead of trying to muscle out, I would try to pull out of that thing, which is the biggest nightmare. I'd try to lift him up and slam him on his head.
Take my brick away.
But my arms got bricked.
So that's the basic BJJ brick philosophy. Find some techniques that work really well for you. Really work on them, and you can get them to be really great tools and weapons for you that you're going to be able to use. Pretty simple, I think.
Simple.
And I think it's good advice.
Great advice. It really is. I've lived by that.
So let's go on to the next analogy here. If you go to the website, there'll be a picture of a tree and some roots below the tree. They're about the same size. First thing you notice about the tree, well, I don't know what the first thing you notice, but the first thing about a tree here is the trunk of the tree is very strong. Like that's
it's the thick part.
A tree needs a strong trunk. So this is like your fundamentals in jiu-jitsu. If you don't have a good fundamentals, none of the other tree is going to matter. So this is like your posture, maybe even your game plan, like things that will help your tree grow And if they're, the tree that's crooked right off the beginning, like you've got some major flaws, it's not going to be a good, strong tree.
Yeah, that tree's going to fall over with a good, strong wind.
Or even an average wind.
Yeah.
Gary and I live here in Kansas. We have tornadoes.
Yeah, and
so we've seen
strong winds.
Yeah. But so you think of your jiu-jitsu as this tree, and think of every time you're working on the fundamentals, the trunk is getting stronger, which supports the entire tree.
Yeah. And as your trunk gets stronger, it's getting wider.
Yeah.
It's just getting stronger, wider.
Taller, whatever. Like
that's just all that knowledge.
Like the fundamentals is beyond you, because I'm still working on my fundamentals, making them bigger and stronger.
Yeah, and you'll always be working on those fundamentals.
It's like if you're playing a kid's, in sports and you're playing a game and you guys made some pretty big mistakes, what's coach going to have you go work on?
You're going to go work on that, whatever you made the mistake on the fundamentals.
Yeah, that's what I would think anyway.
If that was a successful coach.
There you go. You might just run laps until you're exhausted. So you go up the tree and you've got some branches, half a dozen branches on this tree here. They start off kind of big and they'll get smaller. But the big branches, let's think of those like positions in jiu-jitsu. You've got your side control, mount, back, guard, top and bottom, just basic positions, and how you represent those. So maybe if you have like a weak mount, like that branch is really not that developed.
Yeah.
The tree is okay, but that part of the tree, if needed to be, if you happen to end up in mount, which you probably won't if you have a poor mount, is not that strong of a branch. But each branch is like a position. I think originally if you go back and listen to the podcast with Stephen Whittier, we talked about your jiu-jitsu being like a tree, like the trunk. And so I think it kind of stopped there. And I think that kind of simmered in my mind a little bit. I'm not for sure. I should have went back and researched it. But I think he mentioned like your fundamentals are like the trunk of the tree. The tree is weak. Your jiu-jitsu is weak. Yeah. So branches are more like positions. Yeah. You've got to make your branches strong to work on them.
I was going to say I'm going to have that weak mount branch. I really
no, you don't. You got a killer guillotine from that, man. Yeah. So Gary's, we'll use that example a little bit more, because I think Gary has a great mount. When Gary gets mount, I'm in trouble. Like I have a decent mount escape that gets me back to my guard. My mount escape that gets me like to roll over is not that good, but I can get usually recover guard. On Gary, I'm in trouble. So we'll go back to Gary's his mount, because that'll be a fun example to break down. Because so big branch has smaller branches. Smaller branches are techniques off of this one here. These branches are more like a twig. Even like a good technique for you is still not as big as that branch. Like it branches off. Obviously, different sizes of twigs on a branch represent different levels of technique. I would say that your guillotine from mount is a pretty large part of the branch that is your mount. Yeah,
and I always like to. It made me think about the old analogy: position over submission.
Yeah,
the position. It's the thicker branch. That branches off in the trunk, and the move, the submission, is the twig that comes off there.
Yeah, and if the twig is bigger than the branch, first off, it doesn't happen, but it's going to snap.
Yeah,
like you can't develop that. Obviously,
without that position.
The branch grows as the twig grows, obviously.
Yep. Yeah, they go together.
Yeah.
Your mount's going to get better as your arm bar from mount gets better.
Absolutely. It's going to, and it will help your cross collar choke from mount as your arm bar gets better, because people are going to have to defend
the arm bar, and they're going to leave something else
open. The whole branch will grow,
yep.
And as long as you don't neglect your fundamentals, the whole tree is going to grow. Like,
I'm liking this.
I like how simple
sense.
And the picture will help out a lot, guys. But I think we're doing a decent job of explaining it. So we're on from the little branch to the leaves. Now this is you owning the technique. Now everybody gets shown the technique and they kind of learn it, but after a while it feels like this is the way I do this technique. Like Gary has a way he does his guillotine. Now it may be the same as 100 other people, but like there's a point when you know about the technique, and the point where like it's gonna work. Like if he wraps his hand around my chin, and like I know in his mind, this is his. He's where he needs to be.
Yeah,
to
I'm in my comfort zone.
This choke. Like this is like the actual. It's not the technique. This is Gary's guillotine from mount, and shortly after, I'm gonna tap him, tap out on him. So. I would say the leaves represent your version of the technique. And we know it was just kind of cool because if you look at a tree in the spring or summer, you see mostly the leaves. You see like a well-developed grappler. You're gonna you see the trunk, you see the fundamentals there, and then you see a lot of the leaves because it's not just science. It's kind of an art. Like you develop your own game.
Yeah, it really is. I consider myself an artist. I really do. And when I try to tell non-jiu-jitsu guys that it's I'm an artist, and they're like, I've never seen you draw. You express yourself. The leaves are like the way you express yourself on that move.
Okay, guys. So if you've been looking at the picture, that's great. If not, I'm going to explain it some more. Underneath the tree is about the size of the tree, the roots. If you don't know this basic biology, sorry, guys. But underneath trees are roots, and they support the tree, and they help it grow.
The tree's not going to grow without the roots, basically.
Yeah. Actually, I think before most plants sprout, they kind of shoot down a
the roots
root,
are already there
and
before.
Then they head up.
Yeah.
So the big roots, and I've debated on how to organize these, but I think this is the right way. Big root would be the founders of jiu-jitsu. Like, they made it possible.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
like
without the founders, there'd be nothing for us to train.
Yeah. This is people that you may not even met, but people that you know and learn from may have learned from them, or maybe two steps removed. Yeah. But this is a pretty good reason why your tree's able to stand.
Yeah.
Without this, there's no jiu-jitsu. Without this, there's no tree. I mean, even a big fat trunk with branches, if you just magically made the roots go away, there's no jiu-jitsu. Like, it just falls over.
Yeah, it's just going to fall over, or it's going to die for no nutrients.
Yeah,
really.
So the biggest roots are going to be early pioneers of jiu-jitsu. The medium-sized roots are what I would say would be your instructor, your or instructors, or training partners that you deal a lot with. These really feed and nourish the tree, all parts of the tree. That's an important thing to talk about too, is because like your instructor just can't teach the same thing over to you again and again and again, and neglect the fundamentals or neglect your mount game, or
you can't have a tree. You've got the trunk going up and just one branch, because you've only learned back mount. I mean, that tree's going to look a little funny.
You want a nice looking tree.
Yeah.
That's good. A little bit small. Okay, so we have medium sized roots and then small roots. The small roots are alternative methods of learning jiu-jitsu, whether it be online techniques, YouTube, or it might be an online course you take. I mean, it could even really be about this podcast. Like, you could learn about jiu-jitsu, and it would be ridiculous to say you're going to learn more from a podcast than you would be on the mat with your instructor. So it's just another way you could kind of learn about jiu-jitsu and develop your stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, we've interviewed people, and just from the interview, I know I've gotten better at jiu-jitsu.
Me too.
It's funny because before we started this podcast, I was thinking, okay, the way I get better is my instructor, training partners, YouTube videos. I never thought I could sit there and, interview. Our last one was Will Horneff, Roy Marsh, people like that Ryan Hall, that we've interviewed, and I know I got better just from listening from an interview.
Yeah.
And, those are your other methods, and I just think that's neat that I can get better that way.
So, like, there's a little small root under your jiu-jitsu tree with Ryan Hall's name on it, or Will Horneff's name. That's fine. That's helping the tree. You couldn't have. That root can get bigger, but it's hard for that person to influence you as much as your main training partners.
Yeah, just because you're doing it at a different level, but they help. They help tie stuff together. And they give you new ideas.
If you just show up to class and you just train, and then you go home, and then you come back in class, and you're doing outside learning, that's fine. Although you're not that person because you're listening to a jiu-jitsu podcast.
You're still going to get 2 better.
But you're not going to get as big. The tree won't grow as fast.
And not everybody really cares about that. Some people just want to show up, 2 days a week and train and get a little fitness, and their main thing may be weightlifting or whatever. And then there's some people who are really crazy, who listen to everything, listen to every podcast, watch every YouTube video. everybody, there's a happy medium for everybody. You know,
Yeah.
you can be on one side or the other. We're not saying you have to be.
I don't think they're crazy if they listen to every podcast. I like them.
No, yeah, so do I. Thank you.
But it's good. Obviously, anybody listening to us is seeking more information.
Yeah, it's seeking more information.
So that's good. I mean, you're really developing your jiu-jitsu tree to the fullest and as effectively as you can by putting those little roots out there and getting more than a lot of trees.
Yeah, and let's even go back to that, but not even just talking about the interviews, but don't you think just from us doing this podcast that you've learned?
Absolutely.
Just talking. Yeah. I really have also there too. I'm reading more articles than I ever did. I'm learning from articles, and just sitting here,
bouncing ideas off it.
Yeah, and talking back and forth, I'm learning stuff.
I agree, Gary. And I hope people as well. I mean, I hope anybody listening could benefit.
That's exactly what we're here for. We told you about our BjjBrick, philosophy, but, we're not here to just put on a show that tells the latest results of the UFC or whatever. We're really here to try to help people become better at jiu-jitsu and help us also, help everybody. We want to contribute to the brotherhood of Brazilian jiu-jitsu. But, okay, sorry, I got us off topic.
No, that's
again.
good.
Yeah.
No, it's all...
Public service message 27.
Now, next to this tree, what do you find underneath the tree, Gary?
You'll find dead leaves, branches, and
that's basically
beetles.
Guaranteed. Yeah, beetles. Maybe even some fruit that fell off, or a squirrel, whatever. Yeah. But in the picture here, I've got some dead leaves and a branch. And could you guess what this would represent, Gary?
And I will tell you that this is Byron's idea, so I'm coming in this new, but maybe techniques that don't work.
Yeah, or maybe that didn't work for you.
Yeah, okay, that's what I mean. Yeah,
but like we all have these.
Yeah,
we I'll spend a few weeks or a month on something, and that's really not going that good for me. I need to find something that I could work on this better, and that literally like that little leaf just kind of falls off.
Yeah,
or that whole branch, that whole submission. I'm trying to think of a submission that would be a good example for me. I don't have a real good Kimura from guard. I know how to do it, I see it there, but I don't typically do a Kimura from the guard. That's fine. That little leaf or that branch, it'd be a branch.
Yeah.
With a little dead leaf on it, has fallen off my tree, and when I'm rolling, I don't even think about it.
Yeah.
It's not even a thing that I'm going to even consider. For good or for bad. Maybe some guy's got a huge Kimura weakness, and I never even get the opportunity because it's not there. Yeah. But that's what happens. No matter what, you have submissions that you're not going to be good at, or you're not going to work on.
And you think about not just a move that you don't work on, but let's say physical stature abilities.
Yeah.
A really short, stocky guy is going to have a hard time locking that triangle up, and it's a little bit harder. It's the long-legged guy like myself. I find it easier, but a couple of my training partners are 5'3", short, stocky, and it's hard for them to lock their legs up. And so maybe just because of physical stature, they're having trouble with it. Yeah,
it's a good. Literally the way your tree's built.
Yeah,
it affects the way the branches are going to be able to. What branches you're going to support?
It could be a redwood, or it could be a orange tree,
or a what's that? What did Mr. Miyagi have? Bonsai.
Bonsai tree.
You don't want a bonsai
good
tree
call.
for jiu-jitsu. You want a little stronger than that.
Yeah, those are only found on the side of cliffs.
Yeah, you got to hike down there and get it. I forgot about that part.
Yeah.
So let's go back to my Kimura, because I don't have a good Kimura. Gary does, but I don't. Now, if somebody wants me to show my Kimura or show the Kimura, it's think of it like me picking up this branch that has a dead leaf on it. Yeah, I can show you the Kimura.
Yeah.
And I'll get you, but there's no passion behind there.
Yeah.
I don't have it. It's not. Look at it. It's a branch with a dead leaf on it. Like it's on the ground. I don't do this technique. You're asking me to show you a technique I don't do. I could show it.
Yeah.
I could probably help you get better at it if you have a terrible Kimura like I do. I could probably get you a little bit better, but it's not going to be the same as if you ask me a technique I'm good at.
But though, on the other side, it may make you better at it.
Yeah.
Because I know you first of all, you're going to have to talk through it and try to explain, and a
Yeah.
lot of times we get better. But second of all, I know you'll do some research on it. Let's say, hey, Byron, can you show me this the next time? So it could help you. But
could help me,
I know
that's true.
exactly what you're talking about. I've got a training partner who just started. He's wrestled his whole life, but he's got kind of a natural north-south choke, and he wants me to help him with it. And I've never north-south choked anybody. I've got the worst north-south choke ever. And basically, I told him, you've been training now a month. You've got a better north-south choke than me. You should be teaching me. I'm sorry. I can't help you. You need to actually, I told him you had a good north-south choke. And it's like, and see, I'm never afraid to say I'm not good at something.
Yeah.
Seek out Byron's advice. Byron's good at it. I'm not. And
Yeah, like just look at the tree. Like, imagine Gary showing you his north-south little branch that's very small.
Yeah, that
He knows of the
branch is about to
choke.
fall.
He knows the ideas of it, but he's not gonna be real proud of it. He's
Yeah.
not gonna be able to really teach it that well. So
yeah.
he's gonna show. Look at this guy. I mean, my north-south choke ain't that great.
Yeah.
Trust me, guys. Gary's built it up a little bit more.
I don't
than
know
this.
about that.
But pointing to somebody that's got a big old branch that's north-south choke.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where to go.
Yeah.
That's a good way to do it.
I have decided as soon as I go home today, I'm going to go out to my tree in the front yard, and I'm going to label every one of them.
Get it?
Wouldn't that be cool if you came over to my house
Oh man!
and my
I
tree
would-
said like
you would
arm
be
bar?
a
I find a
crazy
little
guy.
skinny one. Yeah.
I picture like one of those crazy guys that on a movie where they murder people. They got you go in their room, it's like, oh man, they are obsessed. They got pictures on
Yeah.
the walls of
Yeah.
you go to your tree, it's like, oh, your tree. Oh, I see Gary bought a label maker. Oh, Gary went crazy and he labeled this tree. It's called arm.
Labeled his whole room.
Yeah, my dad had a label maker. And on his label maker was his name made by the label.
My wife has that for a classroom. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, first thing I'm going to make it my own name and stick it on this machine. So maybe, hey, somebody needs to get Gary a label maker for Christmas so he can make his tree happen.
That would be awesome.
So that kind of wraps up the tree analogy. I think the main thing that we're stressing here is that you've got to have your fundamentals in order to support the whole tree. And also respect the roots. Respect the people that are feeding you.
Great quote right there. Respect the roots. That's a good quote. But really, I like that. I mean, a lot of times people forget about that part. Respect the originators. Respect your early teachers. Respect your training partners. They've all helped you get to a certain level.
Yeah. If you just think of anybody who won a major tournament.
It's the first thing they say.
They didn't do it on their own.
Yeah, and they will always say too, thank you to my teammates, so and so, who and who,
Yeah.
and it's a sport about respect.
Absolutely, Gary. Okay, the next one here. This is our last analogy. Hope it's going to be kind of fun. I thought of this just kind of at the fire station. Okay, if anybody doesn't know, I'm a firefighter. A little over 5 years. I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun, a lot of excitement, and it's pretty rewarding. But anything like jiu-jitsu, you think about it a lot of times, even if you're not really if you're off the mat, you're still thinking about jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, you're always thinking about it.
I think about fighting fire all the time. Trust me, fighting fire is fun.
Yeah,
It's exciting.
is that the favorite part of your job? I mean,
Yeah.
I've never really asked this. I
Yeah.
really do mean this. Not.
I think
joking.
so. Yeah.
Okay.
I enjoy. There are many aspects of the job I enjoy. I like the people I work with.
Yeah.
I have a lot of fun. But minute by minute, fighting a fire is fun.
How often would you say you fight fires? I'm always just curious.
Yeah.
I really don't know much about your job. It's pretty bad. I know
I
you
would
so
say
well.
that I get to be. That's a common question. It does vary. I've gone quite a while without fighting fire, but it seems like I've had. I would say about every 2 months I get a pretty. I'm saying this. I don't want anybody's stuff to burn.
Yeah.
I don't want to see anybody get burned.
Yeah.
I don't want to see anybody lose their house. I don't want to. People. It seems like every other Christmas somebody's house burns up. That's terrible. But if there's a fire, I want to be there and I want to help.
Yeah.
I want to fight that.
That's
fire.
awesome.
That's. So when I might, if you've never heard a firefighter talk, we don't do this because we're all pyros. It is exciting to fight fire. There's no question about that. This is exciting, but you do get to help people, and this is a real thing. Like this fire is. I mean, it's like one of the most basic things that we have on Earth is a fire. I mean, earth and wind.
Yeah, we're gonna
water,
have fires,
and there's gonna be fire. So, it's the most exciting part of my job. Give or take something weird that happens that is kind of exciting too. But fighting fires is pretty exciting.
That's awesome.
So I think I'm going to probably I'm already telling I'm get a little worked up on this one.
Oh, that's good.
I've got Gary here with me, and he's going to ask questions that you might be asking yourself at home if you don't know anything about this.
And I'm
industry.
clueless. I have no clue.
He knows a little
what
bit
Byron's doing, and I know nothing about fighting fires.
So to make this analogy clear for you guys, this is going to go from somebody who has done jiu-jitsu and had got pretty good at it to somebody who's going to do MMA. That's what this analogy is going to bridge the gap on. And I'm just going to call the analogy "The Building Burns." Okay, that's the title of it. So let's take Gary here. He's going to go through recruit class. Okay,
sweet.
Big day.
I'm going to learn.
You worked hard. You got your medical stuff out of the way. You passed the physical test. You got hired. You passed the interview.
I don't know if I could pass the interview or the psychological test.
But you're on. You would pass. You would pass both fine. So you got hired and you're in recruit class. Now, you're going to learn from day one. Like you're learning. Like you don't have to know anything. I didn't know anything about firefighting when I got hired, man. I didn't know how to put my gear on correctly.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know anything. Most people know some, but whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own.
You gotta learn.
Whatever. So Gary, you're going to learn how to put your gear on. So you've got, you're going to put your boots on. You're going to put your pants on with your suspenders. You got a coat. You got a hood that keeps your ears from getting burned. Helmet. We have any questions about that stuff? I mean, that's you've seen it on. You've heard of all this stuff, right? So, and it's important to put this on quickly. And so we're going to train hard. Get you to do it in a quick time. We have certain standards we have to meet on our time, and you don't want to meet the minimum standard. You want to do a good job.
I want to get better.
Yeah. Time is an element.
Yeah, well,
that
time
is very important.
Like as you were saying earlier, the quicker we can get out of the station, the quicker we all get our stuff put on, we get out of the station, which is going to hopefully increase our chance of saving that house.
Yeah.
Or the person, depending on what.
More importantly, the person. So, same thing. So you got your stuff on. You're getting good at that. So now we got to get you to put your air pack on. And trust me, man, learning an air pack at a fire academy is a big deal. Like literally, I could pick up that air pack with like you see like the people like doing guns with blindfolds on.
Yeah,
I could do that. I could take apart the air pack, change a bottle, do all this stuff with big fire gloves and a blindfold. Like this is what because this
is your everyday stuff that you have to do. It's important.
I could do this in the dark. Like another thing that I need to explain is when it's smoky. It's not dark. It's you can't see.
You can't see anything.
It's not the lack of light. It's that there's other stuff in the air, and you can't. Like you turn your light on, and I've turned my light on, and I can't tell my light's on. Sometimes you turn the light on, and you see it's kind of like a haze in front of you, but you still can't see a foot in front of you.
Yeah.
But sometimes you turn on, and like click, 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 click. Like, I know the battery works. I checked this morning. It's on or it's off. I can't tell. Like it's that dark to where you need to be able to work your air pack in the dark. You need to change the bottle in the dark. None of these are easy, but you work them, you train them, you figure it out. Okay, Gary, you got this down, right? So you're ready to go.
I'm ready to go.
It's your big day. You got your gear on, right? You got your air pack on. It's safely. You got to where no skin is showing around your face. You've got everything is covered up. You're ready to go. It's a big day. This is the day that you're going to do a live burn, is what we call it. We've got this building, and I imagine every fire academy, every one of the decent sized city has a burn building. What this is a big concrete building, and this building it has rooms in it that we could literally light a fire in, and it's pretty safe to light a fire in this building. So that's what we do. We'll get some pallets and some hay or something, and put them in the corner of the building, and we'll light it on fire. Now, Gary. You're outside the building. You've got 3 or however many of your classmates on this nozzle on this hose line with you. A little bit nervous. This is okay. You've done this before, but not like you've never had the fire here. So first classmate opens the door, which is locked, so he's got to open that thing up. It's a skill you learn. You guys charge into this fire building, and it's smoke. Oh man!
So you can't even see.
Yeah, you've had it. You've done the blindfold stuff, but this is smoky. Like you're kind of nervous now, right? And you get in there closer. You open the door to the room with the fire is, and okay, now it's hot. You're like yeah, you would think fire's hot, but you got all this gear on. But no, it's hot. Like I remember the first time I did this, I thought, you have your helmet. Underneath your helmet, you have a hood that is like, it's kind of like a ski mask, almost like that. There's a hole in it for your breathing mask to go through, but like it covers your ears, it covers your neck. It keeps that from getting burned. It's a Nomex is what's called a Nomex material, but it helps insulate, but it's not as thick as anything else on your whole system. So if you feel heat, you feel it on your ears, you feel it on your neck. I remember the first time I did this, I'm like, oh crap, I didn't put my hood on because this is freaking hot. I had my hood on. It was still hot. Like it's not like an oven. It's hotter than that. Like you're cooking, right? Yeah. So you're nervous. Can you kind of feel?
Yeah, I was going to say I'm nervous just from how you were playing this out.
Okay, good. So what you do is you kind of get low. You try to get below some of the heat. It's still hot. Oh man! And if it's real hot, your face is on the ground, and you're wondering if you can't go any lower to the ground. Like you wish somebody to get side control and smash you a little bit deeper. But so you're sucking on the ground and you're crawling, and you know what? You haven't even found the fire yet. It's in a room. It's in a 15 by 15 room. It's so dark in here. The fire is 10 feet from you. Nothing between you and the fire but the smoke, and you're still crawling. You're still working. You crawl. There it is. You're fairly close to it. You see the fire. Okay. Actually finding the fire is one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah, I was going to say I never even thought about how hard it is to find the fire till you just explained.
Yeah, and literally
happened.
You're in a
I
room.
thought you would just open the door and I never even thought of the smoke. I thought you'd just see the flames and you're like, okay, cool.
And to be fair, if it's that hot, you do need to open up that nozzle. But a lot of times in your crew class, they stress to find it first. But if it's hot enough to where you're on the ground and cooking, you just open that nozzle up and it's going to help. Because actually the water absorbs heat. It doesn't just put the fire. It soaks up the heat as it changes to steam. So here's what you do. You see the fire. You got the guy behind you, help backing you up on the hose there. You open up that nozzle. Boom, the water hits the fire. Or you might hit the ceiling above it. It depends on what you're trying to do. But you hit that fire. What do you think happens after that, Gary?
You got to keep hitting that fire.
You hit it. It's a fairly small fire in a fairly small room. It's going to hit you like hornets, man. Because what happens is it turns to steam. And now it's like, before it was like a dry heat. Now it's like you're getting stung by little hornets that are hot. So hang out, keep flowing. It's going to get better. Eventually, it won't take long. But those hornets go away, and you've done your job. Good job, Gary.
Thank you.
So you get out and you did it, man. So you did the first time you were super nervous. So I was super nervous, and you did it, and you did, like with anything like jiu-jitsu, you train and you get better at it. So the nerves go away. Maybe not go away.
They're probably always going to be. Yeah.
So you get to have some confidence in it, right? So you're getting ready to graduate from your recruit class, and it's this is kind of like going from recruit classes, like, and I don't want to try to downplay BJJ to MMA, but like the MMA would be like going out there and fighting the fire, not at recruit class, basically. It's an analogy I'm trying to build here. So you realize that there's going to be, you literally had to find the fire in this building that you've been in before. So it's going to be in a
familiar building.
Yeah. There's going to be couches in the way. There's going to be industrial equipment in the way. There's going to be loud noises. There's a lot of stuff going on.
It could be an old house with terrible structure where you could fall through the floor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good point, Gary.
Yeah.
That brings me to the analogy here, that you're getting ready to go do your job. This is what you're here for. They're going to put you on the back of an engine, and that engine's going to show up, and your only responsibility is to get that nozzle to the seat of the fire and to put it out. That's what you're here for. And you've trained the best you could, just like jiu-jitsu. You've trained the best you could. You've done jiu-jitsu for a long time, and you're confident in what you're going to do, and you know the game of it. But then your instructor tells you, your officer on the fire academy tells you that the entire time you've done this, it's been in a building that's made out of concrete, and this building will not burn. Every building that you're going to go into, there's going to be a collapse hazard. This building could burn. The whole thing could go. The whole building can burn. That's like, I see guys try to do a submission in jiu-jitsu or in MMA, and they eat like 10 punches in the face while they're trying to do some leg lock, or they're trying to finish their triangle or something like that. They haven't realized that this whole building can burn. The whole game changed. Like, at no point in time when you were fighting this fire, at no point in time when you were doing jiu-jitsu, were you training for getting punched in the face? Yep. Were you were not concerned? It was hot. You weren't concerned that this roof could come in, that this chimney's going to land on you. That wasn't even an issue, and it needs to be now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it really is a great analogy. You know, the recruit class is your basic Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class. You're practicing your techniques. I mean, you're going at it live, but then all of a sudden, you've never practiced with the different variables, which you're going to get when you go into that house. You know, that house, like you said, all of a sudden now I've got to maneuver around couches, you know, that can catch on fire. We're in a brick building or a cement building where I don't have to worry about anything. But now all of a sudden I'm going to a house where, you know, it could be all wood. Who knows if there wasn't a meth lab in the basement that could blow up. You know, I've got, you know, solvents, you know, that I got to worry about, all sorts of different stuff.
The show Hoarders on TV?
Yeah. You imagine going into that house?
Do you think those aren't a huge fire hazard?
Yeah.
Those catch fire all the time.
Yeah. I could go to a house with, you know, wood shake ceiling, you know, that catches on fire.
So when you're training your jiu-jitsu and you're wanting to do MMA, keep in mind that the whole building burns.
Yeah. That
at no point in time is your opponent going to neglect the opportunity to hit you in the face and try to make you dizzy. At no point in time is your opponent gonna pull back a punch like maybe a training partner would. But this is the real thing.
Yeah, this is it.
This is
what
you're training for. And you know, taking one more step for the self-defense aspect. At no point in time is a referee going to step in and help you.
Yeah.
So, but it's the whole building burns. That's a big deal. You need to train in a way and get rid of some of those. You know, we'll go back to the tree one. Get rid of some of those branches, or get rid of some of those smaller branches, those techniques that you can't do anymore because they're not. They may have worked great for you in competitive jiu-jitsu, but they're not going to work in MMA. You don't want to eat 10 punches to try to pull off an armbar that he escapes anyway. That's it. So actually, there's a little bit more to this one. So Gary, you go there, you show up. This thing's burning. There's fire roaring out, you know, a couple windows, half the house is on fire. Okay, what is your goal at this place? What
would be my goal to get the fire out?
What is your mission?
Get the fire.
Your mission, just like a many jiu-jitsu guys, is my goal is to go submit my opponent in this MMA fight. But really, your mission is to win, and really, that's not the goal of a back end of a. Okay, I said a guy on the back end of an engine. So the guy on the back end of the engine, I think I need to explain that a little bit. He's the guy who's got his air pack on when they show up. He's the driver is going to operate the pump. The officer in the front is also going to either different places have different jobs for that guy. But the guy on the back end of the engine is the one going to be fighting.
He's going in.
He's going to go in with that nozzle and he's going to fight that fire. But really, Gary's goal is to protect the people that are still in that house, regardless of you know how he's going to do that. Is going to put the fire out.
Yeah,
most likely. But your goal is to protect people that may
be
in livable spaces. Yeah,
I'm that first guy in.
Yep,
and I've got the nozzle. Let's say I know there's somebody in the house in another room. Do I try to go in and get those people out first?
That is a solid question, Gary.
Yeah.
I like it, man.
Oh,
that's absolutely.
Yeah.
That's and maybe, you know, this is going out all over the country or world, people hearing this in the jiu-jitsu community. But what we do here, and there's different ways to do this, but it's called VES, Vent Enter Search. So I've got the nozzle, you know, okay, Gary, you've got the nozzle, you're getting ready. Oh man, there's fire over here, and the mom comes up and says, my baby's in this room right here. So you're done. you're not going to fight the fire right now.
I'm
this,
going to.
This is too big of a deal. You're doing your main priority, which is an easy decision. Now, whether you need to get a ladder or you can go right through the window, it's at the ground level, but you're going to go through the window and you're going to go in there because she pointed out the room to you. She pointed out where, which is awesome.
Nice. Yeah.
Because you go in this house, you're going to get lost.
Yep.
I promise you.
Not gonna be able to see.
It's not worth betting somebody's life on that you could find where you're going. It's not what we do. Through the window, vent, enter, search. So you vent through the window, you enter, and then you, first off, you close the door in the room to keep any more toxic superheated gases from getting in people's lungs. And then you find the victim and you take them out the same window. You don't bring them through the fire.
Yeah.
So that's what you would do. Good question, Gary.
Thank you.
I don't know how many people don't think about that before they're on the back of the engine or haven't been trained that. But that's a life-saving. So there's your health-saving effort is to go put the fire out.
Yeah.
But who cares if
there's a life
somebody
in
burned up in a room that was fine when you showed up, you should be able to get that person.
Yeah.
So that's a good one there, Gary. You know how some fighters leave it to the decision?
Yes.
They're letting somebody else kind of dictate things.
Yeah. They're cruising.
A little bit more on this analogy is we show up, and there's a parent in the yard, and they say the house is empty. Nobody's in the house. You know what we do when we hear that? We assume people are in that house. So when your coach, it's the third round of a fight, and your coach says, "I think you've got this."
Yeah, you're not coasting. You're going in.
You need to assume that that's not the case. Maybe you don't push as hard, but on the fireground, we need to assume that there's people in the house because the neighbor kids could spend the night in a panic. Everybody leaves. Nobody's in the house, and people have died that way. People have died in the neighbor's house because the parents forgot they were there. What a terrible way to go. What a terrible way. Oh, okay, the house is empty. That's simple. You know what? I don't cuss a lot, but that's bullshit.
Yeah.
The house isn't empty until I tell them the house is empty. So a lot of my effort is still to look for people in the house. That's the main priority.
Yeah, number one, saving lives.
Yeah. So don't let it go to the decision if you can.
I like that.
You can't always finish the fight. You can't always search the entire house before the fire's out, but searching the house is a huge priority. And it's life then property.
Yeah. So, life's much more important. As we talked about it earlier, relationships, not things.
Yeah, that was last week's episode.
Right,
that was solid. That was it is about people.
Yeah, it's all about people.
So I think that's all I got on that.
Yeah.
I hope it helped bridge some gaps between anybody wanting to do MMA. Like the whole building burns.
Yeah.
Like this whole thing's changing slightly. Jiu-jitsu still works.
Yeah.
But not all of it.
Yeah, I like that. Because the whole building burns, and you apply that to jiu-jitsu, and me and you are mostly jiu-jitsu guys, but every now and then, I've got one of my training partners having a fight or whatever. And my jiu-jitsu is a lot different. You don't see me pulling guard. You see me looking for hooks, overhooks, anything to keep closeness because I don't want to get punched in the face. My moves don't work when I'm eating punches.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like they may work, but you reacting to punches totally messes it up.
Yeah. Yep.
Because none of us are made to take punches in the face. Like,
nope, not at all.
So, but that popped in my head. The whole building burns. And that's something that the people in the academy, in the fire academy, don't think about when they're fighting this fire. It's just kind of it's exciting. They're nervous. It's fun. Yeah. But the whole building does not burn, and that doesn't cross their mind.
All the variables have changed.
Yeah.
You have no clue what's behind that door.
Yeah.
You have no what's going to happen.
If you're able to study your opponent, that's good. Do as much, learn as you can. Like another little fire. We try to get inside buildings and have people give us little tours of stuff that might be high. A good chance this place will go or whatever. But we can't always check every place.
I would not like to be that homeowner or the landlord of own the building. If the fire department comes up and says, "Hey, I'd like to take a look around here just in case I know."
We don't do it. Like, we go in a lot of houses.
Yeah.
Because we go to medical calls.
Yeah.
And, I'll look at that if I'm on it. If it's not 2 a.m,
you'll kind of look.
I'll look at the house. I'll say, okay, there's the kitchen. There's the bedrooms.
Yeah.
And I'll go in and I'm getting better at it, man. It's some of
yeah.
it's easy, some of it's not. Depends on the house.
It's funny. I would have never thought of that.
But it is important to know.
That you're always looking at that. And I always think it's funny because I have a lot of my friends are police officers or firefighters. And it's funny, the one thing I've noticed about the police officers is they can see somebody one time and they remember everything about him. They'll be like, yeah, he had brown eyes and he was wearing a corral hoodie and he had this. And I'm like, how the heck do you know that? I just remember his name was Bill. But because that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
It's like you.
I think we are with some exceptional police officers that we train with, though, too. I mean,
they're
really good at what they do.
Yeah, definitely. But I just think that's funny. It's like they know every little thing about the person. I'm like, I just remember he had an arm bar.
Yeah.
It shows you.
I remember your game, not you.
Yeah.
That's funny. But yeah, we were both fortunate to train with a lot of good people that serve. And that's, I mean, I was, I should mention this because if anybody's interested in firefighting, I was doing jiu-jitsu, had like a job I wasn't really happy with. And some of the guys I trained with were firefighters in the department that I'm on now. And I just got to talking with them. And they encouraged me. They told me the steps to take, and I did it. And there we go. And
I know Byron's paid it back. I've seen people talk to Byron about it, about, hey, I'd like to be a firefighter or whatever. And I also know, too, that we train, like as we said, with a lot of police officers and firefighters. But I know Byron also rode out with the police officers, too.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm looking for a career. And Byron, they all knew him, and they're like, man, we want you to be they were actually kind of fighting to see what side he'd go to.
I like the fires, too.
We want him, yeah. And it's great. Byron, like you said, he wasn't happy with his job. He's happy as can be with his job right now. And, he protects me. He protects, the city of Wichita. He's got a job, a very important job, and does it very well. And
it's fun.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gary. But I'll say this. If you've heard this little talk and it's planted a seed that maybe you would be interested in firefighting, being a firefighter, there's more to it than a little analogy, obviously. But email BjjBrick@gmail.com. Tell me, your name. Tell me where you're from, and I'll do a little research on the city. Give me your phone number. I'll give you a call. We'll talk about fighting fire, man.
That's awesome.
I was 29 when I started. Jiu-jitsu, I think, helped keep me a little bit younger than the average 29-year-old. But there's no reason why. If it's something that you think you're interested in doing, give me a holler.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. That
a lot of good brothers and sisters on the
yeah,
department.
And that's what it is. It's the brotherhood.
And sisterhood. There's plenty of
brother.
it's fine.
Brother and sisterhood. But yeah, it's true. You develop those strong bonds, and it really is. To me, I know I'm not a firefighter or a police officer, but it seems like jiu-jitsu is also a brother/sisterhood.
Yeah.
We develop those strong bonds. When you're fighting fires, you have to rely on your teammates. You have to rely on your coworkers. You can't do this yourself. You have to be a well-trained cog. And like you said, you're training too. Just because you learned all this in the academy, you still need to keep putting that pack on, practicing putting your outfit on.
Yeah, fundamentals.
You have to, like you said, you're always looking out, like me, I'm always like, okay, is this guy going to armbar me? I'm looking for that next. You're looking at people's houses to figure out, if there is a fire here, I'm learning the layout a little bit.
And the people. I mean, some people are not going to be able to get out of a house on fire. Yep. And I try to learn that, and it's just good. It helps my odds.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's awesome. It's just like anything else. You're training for your job, just like you're training for jiu-jitsu. So, but, your job, you're saving people's lives. You are.
Well,
yeah.
There's a difference. It's hard to, I've been on places where we did save somebody.
Yeah.
But I didn't show up alone. I didn't do that alone.
But you're part of that team.
Yeah.
I mean,
could you imagine
when you win a jiu-jitsu tournament, you may be alone out there on the mat.
Yeah.
But did you really do it alone?
Yeah.
It was your teammates helping you train. I mean, unless you're, like Jimmy Chitwood in the movie Hoosiers and you train by yourself. It could be that way. But normally it's not. Normally you got training partners, you got instructors, you got support staff, and that's what you guys are. You guys are a well-oiled machine. You train together, you use blood, sweat, and tears together.
Yeah. Could you like the teamwork that we have on the department? It's like, could you imagine being in there? Okay, you're deep in a building. and you finally found the seat of the fire where it started, and you're getting ready, and you're hitting it, you're getting it, and it's still dark, it's still smoky, you're getting stung by wasps, and then the look on the stream of water as it fades, and you run out of water.
Yeah,
because that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You need the guy who drove that engine to get that water supply before you run out. Like that's some trust right there, man.
Yeah.
That's that guy,
you're
that
in
guy
there
or
on
gal that's driving that engine is going to get that job done while I'm in here trying to do my job. And if it doesn't happen, I'm going to eat it.
Yeah, you guys, there's so much trust. You guys have to work like that. You all have to be experts at all the jobs and trust each other. 100%.
Yeah,
it's a team atmosphere.
We're getting too much off topic, but we stumbled on my other passion. I love jiu-jitsu, and I love fighting fire and being a firefighter.
Yeah.
So, but seriously, guys, if anybody's interested in pursuing a career in firefighting, give me a holler at the email there, and I'll be happy to help you learn about it and see if it's for you. And then, anything I can do. Obviously, we're probably not in the same city. If you're not in the same city, I'll have you come out and check out the station. But anything I can do to help you, I'd be happy to do that, because it's worth it. If it's something that you want to do, it's definitely worth it. So BjjBrick@gmail.com is how you would get a hold of us on that one.
Yeah, and definitely BjjBrick@gmail.com. Send us any questions, comments, anything to make the show better. We always appreciate all your comments. Any articles you may run across that you think might be great for the show here, definitely let us know. We'd love to use it and give you a shout out on air.
Yep. Let's see what else we got here, Gary. We appreciate the 5-star reviews on iTunes so much that we're willing to give a free BjjBrick gi patch to anybody who writes a funny 5-star review. Make it kind of over the top, make it funny. You don't have to be Dave Chappelle, but
that could help.
But make it funny, make it entertaining. We'll read it on the air, and we'll send you out a patch if you're in the United States. We appreciate it, guys. Also, another thing we're trying to get going here is we'd like to prank call a few instructors and put that on the line. So the game plan with that would be, if you've got an instructor that has a sense of humor and can take a joke.
Because we don't want to get beat up.
Yeah, we definitely
choked unconscious, 2 broken arms, and a shattered tibula.
But nobody has done that over the phone yet, so I think we're fairly safe.
Well, we don't want them to find us.
Yeah, that's the problem. So if you got an instructor with a good sense of humor, maybe we'll call them and act like we're kind of like the
typical wannabe MMA guy that always calls the jiu-jitsu gym
to smash people.
Yeah, I'm 27-0 in death, or 27-14 in death matches.
Yeah, you got your MMA gloves, but don't have a gi.
Yeah.
I don't really want to train the gi, but I just want to smash people and really not doing submissions, but just I'm more of a street brawler.
Yeah, I get in a lot of street fights and I almost lost one, so I need a little more practice.
That's the kind of phone call your instructor's going to get. If you want, I think they'd enjoy that. So send us there.
Or even if you have an idea of another.
Yeah, if you got something more personal that would really get under their skin and get them going. I think that'd be good times. We'll share that on the podcast if they approve.
Okay with it. Yeah. We're not just going to put it out there without approval from everybody.
So, but that should be fun. Looking forward to starting that up. BjjBrick.com.
As Byron always says, I'll interrupt him for a second. Chokes and jokes.
Chokes and jokes, yeah. Gotta have fun. Hey, BJJ and good times is what we're trying to bring you guys.
Yep.
I think that'd be another way to bring some more good times. If you're in the Wichita area, Wichita, Kansas, drop us an email. We'll be happy to train with you. We'd love to get on the mat with you guys. BjjBrick.com's website. You can find the podcast there, also on iTunes and Stitcher.
We appreciate 5-star reviews, and we appreciate you all listening every week and letting everybody else know about our show.
All right. Well, thank you, guys. We'll catch you next week. Be more jiu-jitsu action coming at you.
Thank you for listening. I hope you find the time today to roll. After all, the best way to get better at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Here is another segment of unnecessary censorship.
If I could do it all over again, I would have tapped quickly. And instead of trying to muscle out, I would try to pull out of that thing, which is the biggest nightmare. I would try to lift him up and slam him on his
Take my away. So I hope we didn't go off too much on a tangent about the fire stuff, man.
No, I don't think so, but, hey, I do have a quick question I didn't really ask, but...
Go ahead, man.
We talked about you save, I asked if you go in and, there's a person in there, do you get the fire out, or do you try to go straight to the person?
Yeah.
What about, like pets? Let's say I've got a dog and a cat, and you don't really know where they're going to be at, but, because they seem like they would change rooms more often than a human would. But what do you do in that situation?
Pets, we say pets before, life before property,
right?
Basically.
Okay.
So, to be honest, like most dogs, I don't want to say about everybody's dog. Every dog's different, but most dogs are at the front door waiting to get out.
Yeah,
they don't like it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, cats,
little different.
They hide.
Yeah.
And that doesn't. It depends on how bad the fire is and which room they're in. But a lot of times the cat will end up pass away underneath the bed or something like that.
Yeah.
But usually we're just giving like oxygen to a dog that was fine and by the front door if that's survivable.
Yeah.
It does depend on how fast we get there.
You just brought up another question on that. The other day at work, one of my coworkers goes out and sees a dog in a car.
Yeah.
And it's 100 degrees outside, and the dog's just in bad shape, just panting. She ended up calling the police.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and the people actually, they went out to dinner and they came back before the police sent animal control over.
Yeah.
But, I was sitting there thinking, like, let's say I broke the window out and saved that dog, but do you give dogs mouth to mouth? I know you said oxygen, because she made it. I didn't actually see it. I wasn't there, but she was telling me that dog was like panting and kind of looked like it was in distress and everything. Like, it seemed like it probably needed.
If it's panting, it's breathing.
Yeah.
The problem is it's overheating.
Okay.
But you can.
So there
is a mouth to snout. I've never done it. Never seen it done.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the current thing with a dog is. I think but that if
probably in that situation, it more just needed to cool down.
Get it out of the heat.
Get it out of the heat. Get it in AC. Get some water.
Yeah, but I don't know. But this animal abuse. I have a dog in a hot car. But I did. I could remember my first year. We had a fire, and they told me going in that their cat was in the house, the kitten, and a kitten. Okay, I'm supposed to find a kitten in a house that's a mess and there's a fire.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, are you serious?
That's going to be tough.
Yeah. So, we get different assignments. Some, first one's assigned there, I was assigned fire attack. Yeah. Second one's, depends on who shows up, but probably water supply. I was assigned search. So that's my job. I'm searching the house regardless. Like I said, they tell me the house is empty, but there's a cat. The house still has people until I say there's no people in the house. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So you're never taking anybody's, they tell you nobody's in it. You have no clue.
It's not worth betting somebody's life on.
You're still doing the search no matter what.
So I'm fairly, I think I'm within a year when this happens. But we go in and I'm looking, for a cat or a kitten and people. That's what my goals are. And sure enough, man, like right in front of my mask, there's this little cat. And
comes right up to you.
He is having a shitty day, man. He's wet. He's like disoriented. It's a kitten. It's like
it's just clueless.
Just terrible shape. So I'm like, I got the cat. I tell my lieutenant, get it out of here. So I grab it, and I walk out the house, and I'm tired, and I'm not like exhausted tired, but it's hard work. Yeah. So I in the front yard, and the little girl's right there in front of me.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I'm thinking like sweet, like I get to literally give this little girl her cat that I just saved. Like, this is like a big deal. In my first year, this is what it's about, So I've got a like an axe in my hand, and my air pack on, my coat on, my gloves, my helmet, my mask on. I'm full gear. I'm trying to handle the kitten, right? So I go to hand to her, and I drop it. It was fine, but I was like, Oh, I kind of screwed that up. Drop that sucker, man. It's like, oh, damn it.
I bet that made that person's day, though.
It
Yeah.
probably did, but
Yeah.
it was kind of
And that cat.
bittersweet when I I basically fumbled it with my big gloves on.
Who
But
cares?
it was funny.
Yeah.
It made it like more
Yeah.
memorable, I think, for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
But-
I bet that cat's like every day, like, thank you, Byron.
Anyway, that's a funny cat save. We
Yeah.
do pull cats out of trees too occasionally,
Yeah.
but usually it'll be the rookie doing
What about
that.
dogs?
Dogs out of trees? You know, to be honest,
There are dogs that climb.
yeah, and we have a saying that we've never seen a cat skeleton in a tree.
Yeah.
So that eventually
Yeah.
it's going to come down. But
Yeah.
that's kind of messed up to kind of leave it up there forever. But
Yeah.
I don't mind getting a cat down.
Yeah.
I have been on a call where a bird was stuck in a tree. Was the call. And when we got there, the bird had managed to leave. It's like, you called 911 for that?
Unbelievable.
So
Yep.
anyway,
Oh, well.
that's funny. Good times. Good times. Good times. Good times.